Alright guys, so what's up? I'm back with another video after like 8 months, finally. So this is my first game that I've ever programmed. Alright, I made it in C, and I used SDL as like the library for doing like the graphics and getting user input and stuff like that. But yeah, this is my first game. I made Snake, as you probably already know from the title. So in this video, I'm pretty much just going to go through the code and show off the game to you. This is not meant to be like a tutorial or anything. Okay, you guys probably have no idea what this code is doing, because to be honest, I don't really know what any of this is doing because it's so messy. But anyways, before we kind of get started, I just want you to know that this is probably the worst game of all time. So you may want to exit the video now if it's too much for you. I completely understand, but let me just go through and show you guys first what this looks like. Alright, so it opens great. There's a few warning messages from Visual Studio, but as you can see, it works, right? Does everything. Let me use the WASD key so it's not as loud, but it works pretty much for the most part. There's not any serious problems. Now there is an issue. It's possible for the food to spawn inside of the snake's body, but I have not fixed that yet because I'm just lazy. I mean, come on guys, give me a break. But yeah, you can see I hit the wall and it just kills the program. But yeah, that's it pretty much. So now that I've shown that to you, let's just go into some of this code. So this game consists of 3 files, right? So there's the game .c, which is like where the main is. I did everything in main. I didn't have like any external functions aside from this other file here. But I then have my like linked list.c file, and then I have a header file for it where I just define the structures and the functions for it. Now you're probably wondering why am I using a linked list. So I decided to use a linked list to represent the body of the snake. So as you can see here, each node contains a rectangle for part of the body, and there's a head and a tail node. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm moving the snake by deleting the tail and then inserting the head. So it gives the illusion that the snake is moving, but that's not actually, it's not technically what's happening, but it works pretty well. So I won't really go into the functions much. I mean, I have 2 functions for inserting in the beginning and the end, then deleting the beginning and deleting the end, and then I have a function to initialize it. But when we look right here, I get the main file. Okay, so I pretty much to start out with, I just went in through and man, I'm breathing really heavy right now. Jesus, I'm trying to talk without breathing much. I need to work on my breathing, seriously. But here I initialize it, and these functions, these are part of SDL, so I'm not I didn't make these myself. Okay. But I create the window and the render and a bunch of other stuff. It's very, very messy. As you can see, I kind of just did this as I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah. So inside of here, this is like the game loop, I guess, where we are getting like keyboard input. So basically, I have like 4 variables here, and this is basically determining whether or not the snake is going up, down, left, or right at any moment. So I basically set it up so that if I press like W or up, then up will be equal to 1, and it'll continue to move the snake upwards. And I also have like an if statement here. This is to make sure that if it's currently going up, I can't just start going down, because then the snake would like invert itself and go by going in the opposite direction. So I had to look out for that. And then I put this like is starting thing here at the start to stop the snake from going basically to stop the snake from going left when it starts, because then it would invert itself. But yeah, that's, I mean, there's not much to go about to say about that. So let's keep moving on, I guess. Right here. So this is where the, I guess, the fun part. I mean, not really. Nothing about this is fun, but this is where I basically insert this the snake's head, and then I delete the tail. Right. So if it's going up currently, which that's what it checks for. So up is equal to 1 and down is equal to 0. It inserts at the end, and I have the X and Y coordinate for the new node. And then right here, I have, this is, I believe, what is this for? This is the check. Oh yeah, this is the collision detection. So it basically looks to see if the head, the new head that's been inserted is like beyond the scope of the window. And if it is, then it's gonna end the program. And I have a little delay here, and that's it. Pretty much just does that for every single I don't know how to speak today, guys. You know what I'm talking about, right? So, and then once I've calculated that, then I run these functions to render the entire list onto the snake. And this right here, this is for the food. So I earlier I skipped over this, but I declared the food rectangle right here, and I set the it starts off at this position, and it's the same size as the nodes, the head nodes. And basically this is where I calculate, I determine whether or not the head is touching the food or not. And if it is, then I randomly get a number, and then I multiply it by 25 to determine the X location. So the locations, I basically have like all the locations for this by multiples of 25, if that makes any sense. So it's to make sure that like the snake like entirely covers the food, and it doesn't like hit like half of it and like the other half is exposed or something like that. But yeah, this is where I need to add something to this to check for if the new food that spawned is inside of the snake. Okay, because I haven't done that yet, so it can spawn inside of the snake's body, but it just works fine. But it's a little weird. And then this right here, this is where I forgot, what does this do again? I don't know. I think this is, I have, okay. Is this, oh yeah, no, this right here. So this function right here, this is checking whether or not the snake is inside of itself. So if the snake's head like touches its another part of its body, then it ends the program. And I think I forgot to mention this to you guys, but I ran into a problem when doing this, and basically I have it set up so that the head node is actually the tail, and the tail node is actually the head, because I was running into some sort of issue with the pointers where if I had it the other way, I would just crash the program. I'm not sure what was going on, and I don't really know how to use the debugger in Visual Studio, so I just kind of I flipped it to see if it would work, and it did, so I just went with that. But I also don't have like a proper FPS counter, so all I do is I just delay it by 200 milliseconds each time this loop goes through to slow it down. But that's obviously not the proper way to do it, because like the faster the speed of the program is going to be largely determined by how fast your computer is. But again, I don't really know how to do that, so I kind of just went along with this. So that's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, this code is really bad. It's messy. There's no comments. You have literally no idea what's going on, but it works. And honestly, it was a lot easier than I was expecting, to be completely honest with you guys. I mean, if you look at it, right, this one file is a little bit over 200 lines, 230. The linked list.c file is like 90, and then the header file is like 20. So if you add all that together, it's only like 350 lines of code, right? So it's not I guess it's not as complicated as it may seem. You know, not that it was a pretty good beginner project, but it just goes to show you there's not much code that really is involved in stuff like this. Because I was kind of overwhelmed when I first started working on this. I was like, how am I gonna go about implementing this game? Like, I just remember thinking about like the snake and like, how am I gonna represent the snake body? How am I gonna get it to work? And as soon as I just did the linked list, right, like it worked like pretty quickly. It wasn't that hard. So, but yeah, you guys can. I don't know if anyone's actually watching this, but hopefully this is inspiration to you to make your own games, because it's not as difficult as you may assume. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you sometime in the next year, hopefully. Bye.